everybody. Welcome to this edition of the Community Office Hours. I'm Heather with my co-host Monica, and we are here to talk about a fun, hot topic, which is our most recent ESR. It's 140, and we have Wayne here because he's involved in a lot of community things and release processes. Toby is our main guest as the desktop manager. He has overseen a lot of these changes and is pretty familiar with them, so it'll be great to hear from him. And I want to take this opportunity to introduce Michael Ellis. He's our new community program manager, so you'll probably be seeing his face more. Michael, do you want to just tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, absolutely. So as Heather just mentioned, I am joining as manager of community programs here at Thunderbird. I'm super excited. I've got about 10 years experience working in the software industry, specifically in community and event management. I'm super excited to be joining the Thunderbird team. Previously, I spent 6 years working over at Mozilla, working on projects like Firefox OS, and the Mozilla Tech Speakers program. So super excited to be joining Thunderbird with an amazing community program and to be working to help grow and scale and improve our interactions with the community and the way we collaborate together on the project. So thank you so much for having me today.
Yeah, cool. All right. Well, I'm excited for our community to learn about what is new in this ESR release and other cool things. So, Toby, would you like to take it away?
I would indeed. Thanks, Heather. So I'm Toby Pilling, the Senior Manager of Desktop Engineering, and I have been with the Thunderbird project for about as long as this ESR has lived, which is very appropriate that I can now talk about it and share a little bit more. ESR means or stands for Extended Support Release, and a lot of users will be on this release channel because before I arrived, prior to me joining, that was our main stable release channel. We had beta, we had daily, but most of the users beyond that were on ESR. So with that, I'll take you through a few different parts of what we can talk about with ESR, what's different, what's in, what's out, and touch a little bit upon monthly releases. So first of all, what is different? Well, we have monthly. And how is this relevant to ESR, you might ask? Well, it actually changes quite a bit of how we deliver our product. And a couple of years ago, we embarked upon this journey. And within the last 12 months, we now have a monthly release, which is stable. And what that means is that the features and changes are being pushed and tested throughout the year. So we might build something or fix something in August or September, and rather than then waiting for July, which is typically when our ESR ships, it means we can release it to a whole lot of people and have feedback and improve that particular feature before the ESR happens. So it's beneficial for us because the issues that are brought up are being triaged and solved by the development team and the engineering team much, much closer to the time that it's being developed. So it's a lot easier for us to pick up that code, doesn't have a lot of changes on top of it. It's fresh in our minds. It can be adjusted and stabilized well in advance of it hitting ESR in the middle of the summer. And so that's one of the big changes that has happened this year. We feel a lot more confident about this release process. It was always a little bit of a nervy time of year, especially as people start going on holidays, at least in the Northern Hemisphere in our summer. It makes us a lot more confident that we know that a lot of people have been exposed to this code and these features over the last several months, up to a year. So yeah, one of the big benefits for us.
So exciting. Oh, sorry.
Indeed. Yeah, no. Do you have a question about
that? Yeah. Will the new database backend and calendar rebuild be in hopefully the next, I guess you're about to
Yeah, for sure. Let me get to that.
Oh.
So another thing that we actually have changed about the ESR release this year is because we've had the opportunity to publish and deliver many features throughout the course of the year. We're focusing on stability. We learned some hard lessons last year. There's some code that was introduced at some point that eventually got merged. That was actually very, very difficult to test. One of the other reasons we now have a monthly release, because we get to test all of these edge cases with a large population well in advance. And rather than trying to stuff in lots of features that maybe aren't quite fully baked, we're aiming for stability and ensuring that the large number of users that are on our extended support release are getting a product that is stable. So rather than rushing to include lots of things, such as the database backend and the calendar rebuild that you were referencing, those will wait until they are finished. And what was your question about that one? Sorry.
Oh, I was just gonna ask, if if the database backend and the calendar rebuild will hopefully be in the next ESR, and will they make it to the monthly release channel first?
Yeah, so that's typically the plan. They'll live through the daily builds in a very experimental form. When we're somewhat confident that we're not going to be breaking things, we'll release it to a beta population who can help us QA and find issues or edge cases that we might not know about or our QA team hasn't dreamed up. Beyond that, when it's lived for another month or so, it gets baked into a monthly release. We're aggressively increasing the number of people that are on that monthly release channel to bring people from the extended support release onto monthly release. And the plan is that both of those features would live there first. And yes, that is exactly the plan, is to have those two features ready for the next ESR. One is a backend project, one is a front-end project. They're very large in scope. For example, the calendar rebuild involves not just revamping the way all of the calendar works, every button, every widget, but also including the compose window. If we change the compose window and how the WYSIWYG editor acts within the calendar event authoring, we also need to roll that out to our email. So it has knock-on effects that are fairly large in scope. Hence, we need the time to make sure it doesn't break on all the platforms that we support. So yes, while that is the plan, if things aren't ready, we won't ship that product in a state that people will be unhappy with. But yeah, to answer your question, that is the plan.
Yeah, that's exciting to see, and it's also completely understandable and at least appreciative as a user that features won't be rushed out the door before they're ready.
Indeed.
Monica, I think Monica had a quick question.
If you are interested in kind of helping like review some of the design work right now that we're doing for that calendar rebuild, one of the resources we'll link is our UX mailing list, where we've been having design studies and things go out. And so we will include a link to that. So if you want to start contributing and let us know, and let our design team and developers know what works and what doesn't work, we will include that. One thing I wanted to ask about kind of this, this being the first ESR after we've had the new monthly release channel kind of as our new default. Were there any specific ways in which this ESR specifically benefited? Like a feature that went in that got some really good testing in the release channel, or was there like a concrete story that you can tell us about how monthly made Eclipse better?
It certainly helped the team worry less at this time of year about what is coming. There was always a lot of nerves around the organization at this time of year, but specifically in terms of features, there are a number that I might go on to talk about in a little while. One was the QR code importing from or exporting from the desktop product into mobile. The in-app notifications the code lived on the monthly release for a very long time before it reached ESR, and being able to take the feedback, work on it, have those 20, 30 bugs addressed and fixed over the course of several months, rather than all of a sudden you've got 10 million, however many million people interacting with it and coming across these. We were always at this time of year bombarded with questions and support requests that were not just related to how do I use this new feature, but hang on, this thing works differently now. And being able to address that not only at the product level, improving and refining and finding those edge cases, but providing the support articles that go along with all of the questions that we were going to be asked, just makes things better for all in the end. So I hope that answers the question a little bit.
It does. And I also want to, because I don't know if we can fix that. I said that Connect is where some of that stuff lives. It's Topic Box, where our mailing list lives. So thank you, Wayne, for catching that. And like I said, I shipped about 2 cups of coffee this morning and not one.
And Monica, you mentioned folks providing feedback on UX. I believe we have another opportunity on the UX team if we have anyone interested in getting involved. The UX team is currently looking for someone to join the accessibility committee, I believe. So we can include a link and some information in the notes. For anyone interested, feel free to follow up to the notes and we'll have some information available there.
Oh,
yeah.
Love it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So if you're active and you want to help shape help to shape the standards of the experience within our product, you're passionate about accessibility, we'd love for you to get involved. Reach out.
Thanks.
Great. Thank you. I will now just talk briefly about some of the features. Those lots of features, lots of fixes, but some highlights that I thought it might be nice to touch on a little bit. The first is finally we have support for dark messages mode. The app itself reacts to dark mode in some ways, but the messages pane was something that had not been addressed at this point. We felt like that was an important thing to include. So now the application will automatically adapt the message to dark mode if that's what has been turned on. We've also got a toggle. Sometimes email content is quite difficult to read based on who has authored it and whether they looked at it in dark mode. So there's a toggle also in the header that will allow you to disable that for the message quickly, just to see it if there's any visual problems. And if that's not your jam, you can disable that in the settings, for which we have a new cluster and grouping of appearance settings, which I can talk about as well.
Yeah, this is a really neat feature. And I have actually gotten to use that toggle when sometimes the message comes in and it's just, I'm like, I can't read this. What is going on here?
Is this me? Is Thunderbird broken?
Is it me, or is it Thunderbird, or is it the person who sent me the message?
Exactly.
And I just wanted to know, is there continued work going on to work on these visual issues that are apparent in dark mode, to make it so hopefully we, even though we have that toggle and it's great, that hopefully we don't have to use it as much?
Yes, there is a lot of focus, and as Michael mentioned, we're really focusing on accessibility and standards around ease of use and reading and interacting with the product. A lot of the work that my team does, implementing and developing things, comes from designs and feedback sessions that we get from UI UX collaboration. That's coming down the pipe. There are bugs in Bugzilla already. We don't want at this stage to jump in and fix individual things. It's part of a grander plan to ensure that the product is consistent and that we're touching on all points that need to be thought through. And so there's nothing on the immediate roadmap, but I know it's coming, and we're planning for that when that gets added to our development roadmap.
Excellent. Thank you.
Yeah. I was just referencing appearance settings. It's a new part of our settings tab. We typically get a fair amount of feedback on how to use the product. And as we in our team use it every day, we often find the groupings that were implemented a long time ago don't always make sense. And so we felt it important to take a step back and rethink some of the settings and where they live. So there's a new tab within the settings tab group, which allows you to globally control list layout, whether it's card view, table view, threaded, unthreaded. You can control your cards view. Now we have an option to go from 2 rows to 3 rows. Some folks weren't happy with the defaults, and fair enough. We hadn't got all of the feedback from the community at the point when it was when cards view was implemented. So quite happy to make those updates. We're also able to set the default sorting order from one location, and that's what it looks like. Nice, easy interface to simplify how you might customize some different parts. There's ways to right click and set different things, but having everything in one place made a lot of sense to us. So this is the product of some of those conversations. And you'll
And
note-
for our audio only listeners, I just want to highlight that in Thunderbird settings, you go to the appearance tab and you see the appearance settings that Toby's talking about, and they are sleek and beautiful.
They
Yeah,
are
and just
so
simplify
nice.
how you might change the various settings. And if you were using screen readers, this is going to make life a lot easier because it's all in one place.
And we've had so many people asking, like, how do I turn off threading for everything? I remember when I first started and be like, we can't do that yet. And now it's just like, you go to this and and it's beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
And thank you, Heather, for remembering people listening to this on our podcast. So.
Yeah. I do have a question real quick, Toby, about the appearance settings. How did community and user demand feedback play a role in developing this feature?
As with many open source and community driven softwares, it's critical for us to take a step back and listen to what we're hearing via support channels and in Bugzilla or anywhere the community is discussing the product. You get to the stage where you're hearing themes so many times that it's time to take action and prioritize that, not just because it impacts a large percentage of your user population, but it also relieves demand on the support team and the volunteers who are answering the same things over and over, rather than just putting some obscure webpage that says, okay, here are all of the places you need to go for these settings. It's just simpler to take the time and improve the product given the feedback that we've that's been shared by the community. So yeah, it's a big part of how we work. Wayne, you had a
Great.
question.
Yeah, so I'll just offer an amen to the point about people asking for support about these types of things. They were scattered throughout the UI, and now centralized. It makes it much easier for people to not only find them, but understand them. So lots of users will be grateful for this.
Great. And one thing you might notice there is in the list of items that you can change when you're using table view, you now also have the ability to toggle on a horizontal scroll, which I'll get to in a minute as well. Manually sorting folders. I love this one. It's been something that has been a feature that was requested in Bugzilla going back many, many years. Over 10, maybe over 15. It's available in other products and something that users have got used to. in Thunderbird, prior to this landing, you were stuck with the order on the server. We now have the ability to click any folder, move it around, put it where you want. Your most common things here, the things you don't care about somewhere else. This wasn't prioritized for this year by our team because, been talking about some of the other things on the roadmap, but it was important to enough people that this came out of a community patch. Our team helped the contributor finish the patch, add tests, and supported all of the process beyond the initial patch. And it was so great for us to turn this one into one of our showcase features of something that's been around for a long time that we've got to through a really collaborative, community-powered approach. And so I wanted to share that one. It's been a lot of work to get it there, and I thank the folks who are involved.
What a win from,
Yeah.
getting this major contribution from the community. That's just really awesome.
Yeah. Account Hub. What is Account Hub? Well, the Account Hub is what we call the location that you go to when you want to set up or manage your accounts. It's been something we've been working on for a while. It's part of our first-time user experience, and we're getting there. We're not all the way there, but this is an important step that we have delivered in this version, this ESR version. We took on setting up email accounts first because that's the most common activity. We're getting to address book, we're getting to calendars later, but for now we've delivered the Account Hub that is initialized when you're setting up your second email account. The first time user experience when you install Thunderbird has not changed. You get the old style, but any subsequent accounts that get added by default will use the new experience. It has been prefed on, so there are settings if you want to disable it, but for everybody it is on by default. It's a much more streamlined, polished experience, very visually pleasing, a lot more accessible than some of our older work. And I think you'll find that it is a more pleasant experience to interact with. It has a few pieces that are still missing. And so it's very likely that things will get uplifted on top of the work that has already been done. What's coming later will be turning that experience and expanding it to include the setup for address book and calendars, and then we'll adjust the first time user experience. So right from the start, you're being guided through these steps and probably finish up with, okay, now here's a bit of a dashboard and things you might want to consider. The process for the email setup is quite complicated, and there are a lot of moving pieces, authentication protocols, and error conditions that are very complicated that we've had to conquer as we've been re-implementing this in a much cleaner way. But we're confident that that is in a good place. So we've turned it on, and users will be able to interact with that and provide any feedback if they come across things that can be improved. We're always looking for that.
Yeah. Now, you mentioned that for Account Hub, and if you are interested in a deeper dive into Account Hub, we will link in the resources for this video and on the blog page, the Account Hub office hours that Heather and I did, what, a month or two ago?
I think it was 2 or 3 months ago, actually, with
Oh, wow.
Vinit. Yeah.
Yes.
Time flies.
So that way you can find out kind of more about the design. But going back to this, you mentioned that this isn't for when you add your first account, that this is enabled by default when you add your second email account. Is there a point where you're expecting that this will be enabled as the default experience when you add that first email account to Thunderbird?
It's not something that will be uplifted throughout the year. There's a lot of changes. There are a lot of strings. There's a lot of wording that goes along with that experience. And for us to try and uplift that to an extended support release is extremely difficult, nigh on impossible. So it's something that's targeted for this time next year with the next ESR release. But yeah, that has to happen. So yeah, we'll be working hard to make sure that guided flow right from the start has been thought through, whether it's screen readers or accessibility or dark mode. All of those things will be included in the account hub that is delivered for the first time user experience this time next year. And parts of it will live on monthly. For example, we're getting close to finishing the account hub for Address Book now. Again, with LDAP configuration and advanced setups, there are many screens and validations and error messaging that occur within that process, but we're very much getting close to that now, and we expect to deliver that in the next monthly release. So yeah, if that's something you're interested in, and there's probably other reasons too, consider the monthly release, because there's constantly product being improved there month to month.
That's great. And I was also curious about kind of that first email, because it's so beautiful, but it's often easy to forget how much work can be involved in changing some core pieces like this. Toby, you said that the pieces for the address book are getting ready to land in the monthly release. Is that and the calendar work something we can expect in the next ESR as well?
Yeah, absolutely. The calendar work we're going to combine with the delivery of the enhanced calendar UI. There will be a lot of shared components and widgets that will be used throughout there that are being designed to be standardized and accessible. So we'll be lumping the calendar account hub with the calendar project. Very, very close to delivering the account hub for Address Book, though. That's coming very soon, and obviously we'll ride through monthly releases for the next 10 months, and it will be included in the next ESR. The calendar, everything, all of our front end team, and we're encouraging community members to help us, will be focused on delivering the calendar enhancements for the next ESR.
Thank you.
Yeah. Notifications. So another common complaint or missing component has been our ability to communicate with native notifications at the OS level. A lot of products and applications will piggyback on that notification system. We support a lot of different platforms, so we have a lot of work to do when it comes to standardizing the way Thunderbird notifies users of various things. That is something that we've tackled over the last year and delivered an enhanced experience in this ESR, which now across Windows, Mac, and Linux will give a few quick actions along with the notification that pops up as new email arrives. We've, at the moment, I believe in ESR, we've delivered delete and mark as read, but there are a variety of things that are already in monthly and will continue to be worked on throughout the year and ride the train through the monthly releases and be included in the next extended support release, if that's the channel that your enterprise or organization has locked you into.
Excellent. I know that our Linux users especially have been pretty excited about this. And so for native notifications, you mentioned that we've got more up our sleeve. Can we get a little sneak peek as to maybe what those future releases are going to be?
Yeah, and just talking about Linux, that one, it's a more fun one because we chose to implement that in Rust, and I believe Heather was involved in that project. So I can see a big smile there. I'm quite proud of the work that's been done there. And we've taken this initial delete and mark as read as a foundation for some of the other things, and taken feedback from the community, inspiration from our own habits and work needs. So coming shortly after that are some, obvious ones like archive, marking as spam, and marking as starred, but also kind of a framework that allows you to customize that notification. So if you decide that forward is the thing that you want to show in that notification, there'll be we'll create that ability for you to add actions that work best for the way you operate. So yeah, fingers crossed, all those in the next ESR.
Nice. And that seems so keeping with the Thunderbird ethos too.
Indeed. Yeah.
Yeah. Toby, can you talk a little bit about what makes it important to improve native notifications?
I think a lot of users now, whether they are using a screen reader or using the desktop client as is, are managing a lot of information and being able to control when and how that is presented to you is a big part of what we're trying to do, trying to streamline and optimize this experience for people. Having the ability to piggyback on top of all of the work that has been done by the operating systems and standardizing that is what we wanted to provide. The worst thing would be for us to use a completely different paradigm when we're trying to notify users than what you're used to. And so that was a big part of why we felt it was important to dedicate some time to that over the year. I don't know if that answered your question, but it's
It did.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, I love that we're working on that.
Because deep within those implementations are real best practices and research that has been done to how people respond to certain things in certain conditions. It would take us as an organization so much effort to do all of that research, to understand the best way of doing it. And so connecting with those subsystems is key to making the experience pleasant for all, or as many as we can. Okay, Exchange support. Experimental. We want and we wanted this code to ride in ESR for a number of reasons. Often, even if everybody is not using this particular feature, it's important to include the code base there to ensure that it doesn't cause other problems. It has been included because we're now getting closer to the stage where we'd like to turn on Exchange email support for everybody by default. And it is now enabled as a preference. If you want to turn that on and you have certain types of Microsoft Exchange accounts hosted on certain Microsoft infrastructure, you are now able to do that and set things up, and it should operate as your IMAP account will. This is in heavy development right now. In fact, we're in the middle of a sprint where we've collected the entire backend team, and we're working throughout July to try and move this from where it is now to a product that will be released to all in 141 or 142. There are going to be a lot of community feedback engagement sessions coming up where we're trying to understand different configurations to ensure that we're enabling all of the various configurations that folks can set within their Microsoft instance. And at the moment, we're problem solving to try and get that uplifted to the ESR so that if someone wants to help us and roll it out to their organization or just test it for themselves, there are ways to do that.
And Toby, if we have folks that are listening in and perhaps interested in participating, what would be the best way for them to reach out and throw their name in the hat?
Great question. Thank you. Yeah, there are a number of bugs. There's a meta bug, which we could include. I believe Wayne is going to be posting a link to the wiki that is specifically talking about our EWS progress. And we're open to any forms of communication, whether it be testing out or helping us to develop this. It touches on a whole bunch of different code, Rust code, C++, and JavaScript. So if you're interested in contributing or testing, yeah, please let us know. We'll definitely include links for that.
Yeah, if I remember,
Oh, sorry. I just wanted to say, just kind of tag on to, keep on Michael's point. If anybody is willing to help test specific configurations that you have, you can, even just email me or ping me on Matrix, and I would love to connect and see how we can leverage that to make sure that we're delivering a product that works for all sorts of configurations.
Yeah, and Heather's been a big part of this project and has been helping out a lot. So knows a fair amount of where we're up to. So yeah, I would encourage that for sure.
That's great. And for those listening in on the podcast today, Heather, what is your email?
Oh, it's real difficult to remember. It's heather@thunderbird.net.
All of us early people who get our full name or our full first name at thunderbird.net. It's so nice.
Old guard problems.
Great.
But,
Okay.
So just a question. How
Uh-huh.
experimental is this?
We're not going to delete your emails.
What?
It's experimental in the fact that you may find some features missing. The moment we don't have message filtering enabled for those EWS accounts, marking things as junk, not junk, is proving tricky. What we're doing as we're working through the implementation of Microsoft Exchange is we're taking code that is 20, 15 years old and was written at a different time with different priorities by contributors who had different priorities. And a lot of that code is extremely complex and intertwined with some of the front end code, which is not ideal when we're trying to separate and use that as a foundation for other protocols. Because EWS is not the last protocol that we're going to implement. We're going to take this learning, and once we've genericized a lot of the interfaces being used by IMAP and made them work more generically and interact with the EWS code, that will also then be used for JMAP and Graph API. And so it's a very long process, and we need to get it right, but it's going well, and the team is feeling really good about the progress that's been made. Certainly in the second half of this year, it's been great to see. All right,
Wayne.
moving up.
Sorry,
Okay,
Wayne has a question real quick.
Oh, sorry, Wayne.
yeah, to expand on the feedback mechanism, the wiki page does have some suggestions, and we'll expand on it. But I believe probably one of the best ways that people could get involved is use beta, because since this is an active development, we've encouraged people to use beta to test Exchange in the past. And it's a way to collectively talk about it, whereas in certain bugs, it may not be, so conversational. But certainly file bug reports, and that is also listed on the wiki.
Perfect, thank you. Export for mobile is in ESR. You may or may not have noticed it did actually creep its way into an earlier version in the previous ESR during the year. It was uplifted to 128 at some point, but I wanted to highlight it because it's a feature that's been praised and made life very easy for a lot of people. If you are an Android user, we have an Android product, Thunderbird for Android, which you can use. Moving and exporting your settings from the desktop client to the mobile client is a breeze using this feature that was developed way back now. And it I encourage you, if that's something that you're interested in, try out this rather than setting it up from scratch again. It's going to make life a lot easier for you. So definitely wanted to touch on that one. I talked about this a little while ago when I brought up the appearance settings screen. Now, if you are the type of person like me that likes to see a lot of information for each email, you might be using table view. If you have a lot of columns included in your view, because you want to know when it was received and you want to sort on this or that, sometimes you run out of space depending on the size of your screen. We've now included this small quality of life improvement. So if you have that layout and you've stretched some of the sizes of your columns, you can just move back and forth, and just makes life kind of act a bit more like a spreadsheet or file manager that you might be used to previously. Every column that you added kind of squeezed things, and it made life a little bit difficult to kind of look at something. But now that's made life a lot easier for me. So wanted to share that one. And where can you get this? You can download this from, you can get it from the Windows Store. You can download it from Thunderbird.net. If you're looking to get the ESR, be careful. We've now made the default download as the monthly release, which we'll get to in a little while. And there are a lot of other locations where you can install this from. What we didn't get to, and I think I've covered some of the reasons why we didn't include this. You know, we don't want to rush things too quickly and include things that aren't ready. Full Microsoft Exchange support, which would include calendar, accounts, and address book synchronization, have not been included. There are some features that I mentioned before that are not included. And while we are supporting Exchange Web Services, we don't yet have Microsoft's newer API, which is the Graph API. That has not been supported yet. But the plan is that once we're through implementing EWS, our entire code base will have been improved and genericized to the point where adding another protocol will be much more trivial. Not a trivial task, but it will be much more trivial than what we set out to do some time ago with trying to understand how IMAP had been implemented, making all of the changes for that, and then adding EWS on top. So that is coming, but didn't make the cut this time. New UI for chat, tasks, and settings. That's a longer term project. I don't have it immediately on my roadmap at the moment. It's something that we will be tackling from the design standpoint soon. Calendar UI is almost fully through the design phase, and we are partway through the implementation of the calendar UI. But as I said, when you start taking on things like a new WYSIWYG Compose widget, that takes some time to weave into all of the different parts of our code across different places where it's used. Again, we talked about the new account hub for the first time user experience. That's a big one. You know, it doesn't just include the setup. It's like thinking through what would a user need to see when they're done. Like, should it be just a screen that says you're done, or should there be, well, these might be the add-ons that are appropriate for you. Lots of things to think about there, and the design for that is in play.
Yeah.
And as I said, yeah, the account hub for address book is coming very soon. Very excited about that one.
Yeah, that'll be nice.
I know a question we do get pretty constantly is, when do we anticipate those other Exchange features, address book and calendar, getting support?
Those are planned for this year as well.
Mhm.
The big challenge for us was to finish off email, and there's some pretty unpleasant code to delve through for what's coming for the message filtering and the rest of the work that we're tackling. The junk and not junk that we're tackling in over the summer. once that's been done, we're going to be feeling pretty good about where we stand, scale back the team, and allow them to continue working on other things like the database implementation.
Mhm.
And we will then roll out calendar and address book towards the end of the year and into the beginnings of next year, so that it's ready and tested for next ESR.
Excellent. And I just want to say, as the person who uploads your very, very helpful Thunderbird Monthly Development Digest to the blog, that if you want to stay on top of these developments, that is one of the best places. Every month, Toby's great. And you can actually, you post that to TB Planning first.
Yes, that goes to
Mhm.
the topic box TB planning and makes the rounds there. And I believe it's shared in the blog too. So yeah, read that. And there's a bunch of links throughout that help you
Mhm.
stay in tune with the various things that we're working on. If calendar is something you want to follow, if it's the database, there's links to our plan and our roadmap there.
Yep. And we have a very convenient RSS feed on our blog, which you can read in Thunderbird. Yes.
Um,
Indeed.
I have another question, Toby. Are we still working on Thunderbird Sync? Is that something we can expect to see in like a monthly release sometime?
Yeah, I guess that depends who we is. Our team has paused on that. We've done the legwork, and some of that is ready to go. The infrastructure that goes alongside the synchronization is being tackled by our services team, not the team that I'm a part of, but is a big focus of what's coming. I've heard we're getting close. And that means great things for us because we've had to turn certain pieces off in our builds that go out to anyone beyond daily. But it will be nice to be able to turn that back on and start testing with that server infrastructure in place, and polish that off and finish it. Because I know it's been something that people have been asking our team as well.
Nice. Okay, great. Thanks.
Yeah. And I thought it would be a good time to just loop back and explain about monthly releases. If you are part of the population that found yourself on extended support release because you've been using Thunderbird for a long time, it may not be for you. What the intention is for this release, for the extended support release, is for institutions, organizations that want very, very minimal changes throughout the year. But for the standard user, we feel like our stable monthly release is probably more appropriate. It's just that we don't have the ability beyond explaining and suggesting to people that it might be worth moving. We don't want to just assume that you should be moving from ESR to monthly. So that's not something we're going to do. But at any point, I think it's important to understand the benefits of doing that. You're getting more frequent bug fixes, not just the critical security releases that you would get on ESR. You're getting features earlier that have been tested in daily and on beta. And so that release channel is something that we're encouraging users to consider and move to. And we have very simple instructions if you want to move from ESR to monthly. It's a good time to do it. And you can get it at the Thunderbird.net. It is now the default download and has been since March. And we've had a lot of happy users that have already moved over, and our population there is growing. And that's good for us because we know that users are going to be happier on a product that is constantly being improved throughout the year, rather than having to wait and then get used to the changes all at once. And so we feel like the monthly way is the way to go.
And I just want to, I guess, highlight something that I kind of found confusing at the beginning. These monthly releases we're actually calling them the release channel. So just wanted to make that direct correlation explicitly that the release channel are those monthly releases.
Yeah, indeed.
Great, thank you.
Yeah. That's it. I mean, I'm happy to answer any more questions if anyone wants to get in touch. directly or respond to some of the stuff in topic box, I'm there. And we're always looking for folks to help either direct us, help us improve the product, or get some collaborative help in terms of community involvement.
Thank you so much, Toby, for taking the time to be here and kind of walk us through these ESR highlights. It's been very informative and delightful.
Yeah, and seriously, congratulations to the team. I know that ESR just came out this past Monday. We're recording this on
Yes.
Thursday, July 10th. So it's really just been and especially like you said, with that summer schedule is just they were not thinking about North American summer holidays when they did this, because like more than half the team was out last week on different days. So
Yeah, and I think this time last year, I'm not sure I would be doing a meeting like this. It would be hiding under, all right, is everything okay? But with the monthly release, it's so gives us so much confidence that we can blast and release this a lot faster than we have in the past, and get it to more users because we're a bit more confident than we have been. Yeah, good feeling.
it's good.
Great. Well, thank you, everybody. Michael, thanks for being here, and I'm sure the community will see much more of you as we, roll out some new community program things. So yeah,
Thank you so much for having me. I hope to join you in the future, and appreciate being able to join today.
yeah, wonderful. Okay, well, we can end here, and thank you, everybody, for taking time to watch this. I hope you found it enjoyable, informative. If you have any questions, you can always find us in Matrix or email us, and we would love to hear your feedback. Okay, so we'll see you next month for the next edition. So, all right, thanks. Bye.
Take care, all.
Thanks. Bye.